Check it out. Look, she complaining about the damn name. Listen. First off, let me give you the ground rules for Gye-Nyame Talk. First off, I want to welcome all y'all out here to Gye-Nyame Talk. Brother High Tim is live in the place. I'm being joined by Miss Potolo. She's named after the star, Potolo, you know. And I just need to lay ground rules. You can't cuss more than me on the show, and you can't be raunching to me. You're not going to cuss at all. All right, maybe I might need to cancel this show. I thought maybe I had a hot one here tonight, but no, I'm just joking. Enjoy yourself, first rule. Get your points out, and let's have a nice little discussion because we often argue. And the field is open because I do shows on emergence. I believe that if you leave it open, Lord knows what'll pop up, and a lot of times what pops up is what the people need. So why don't you go on and introduce yourself, and you get the conversation started if you want, and if you don't, I will.
Oh, sorry. Hey, I'm Miss Potolo, a.k.a. Jay, and I am the smart person that how Tim gets all of his better judgment from. Better judgment, yes. All his better judgment from. I'm the brains behind the operation.
Okay, Brain. So what we going to start with? Because, of course, you know, I got a black woman in the studio. Why don't you give me your concept of black manhood? What it is and what it should be, what it is at the present state, and hopefully what you feel it may become in the future.
Well, luckily for me, I had a father who embodied it, or else I don't think I would have ever encountered it in my life. I believe that black manhood is a man being a provider and a protector of his family and his group. So, and that comes at any cost, providing at any cost and protecting at any cost so that his family and his group can strive and flourish to be their best.
So providing and protecting, that's what you think a black man should be doing. So why don't you tell us how you feel about the present state of black manhood so we can get into some good shit.
So the present state of black manhood is trash. We don't have black men. To me, a man's pride is built on his ability to be a man. It's a reflection of his manhood. And now these days, a lot of men want to skip the manhood part and just have pride in bullshit. Excuse my French.
What type of bullshit?
Clothes, how many women he got, the kind of stuff he got, cars, like dudes will have 10,000 degrees, where they smarter than everybody, but still not playing their role as a man in their families or their communities. So they're taking pride in nothing. Nothing that's going to bring anything productive for the next generation or even for the present generation that they're in.
Now, you said earlier that thank God that you had your father and you ran, and through your father you was able to get a good model of manhood. Let me ask this. How important do you believe a father is to a daughter? Because we often talk about how important a father is to the son. How important is a father for the daughter and why?
A father is integral in a daughter's life because a father shows a daughter what to look for in a man. A father shows a good father. Let me say that because there's a lot of women who have poor examples of men as fathers in their lives. A good father is important in a woman's life because it shows her not only what to look for, but also what to expect from her sons when raising them. So.
All right. So now, this is my next question because you know I got to hit this shit. The present state of manhood in America, where did the model for what these young people are doing, because I guess I'm part of that list too, because you say you ain't running to no good man since your dad, so I'm not going to have no hurt feelings and shit. That's cool. I could be on that motherfucking list, you know. It don't bother me, you know. I got some rough edges. I'm trying to work them out. But where does the model for the concept of man come from for a majority of these black men in America? I'm about to hit you with a whammy, right?
You're about to hit me with a whammy. The model for black men. So here's the problem. The problem is that since there aren't good examples of black men, young boys growing up see that that's not what manhood. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I feel like generations have looked at their examples of fathers. It hasn't made sense, and they've tried to take what they can from that and do what they think makes sense. I feel like that's what young boys are doing now. So I feel like they're creating their own. They're creating their own definitions of manhood based off of what they see and don't like, and what they see and want in other groups of people.
All right, now a considerable amount of young black men in my generation and the generations after me, because I'm kind of old, were raised by women. And these women prepared these men for the world. So would it be a stretch for me to say that a majority of the fucked up men that you're talking about were created by women?
I won't say that they were created by women, but I will say that they weren't helped by the women that were in their lives. Because the problem is that men haven't played their roles as partners to the women. So the primary example that's supposed to be there isn't there. And as a woman, when somebody leaves, I feel like a lot of women have put effort into keeping their men in the home, as opposed to putting effort into making sure that their young boys grow up to be proper men in the absence of other men. So.
All right, so now, would it be reasonable to say that the state of black manhood ain't shit because the state of black womanhood ain't shit?
No. The state of black manhood ain't shit because the state of black men ain't shit. That's the cause. It's like, okay, so you have the A players and then you have the B players. When you're winning the game at the fourth quarter, 2 minutes, y'all up a good lead, they take all the star players off the field and they let all the second string players get on and play to keep the lead for whatever amount of time it is. Now the problem is, in the role of raising a black man, the men are the first string players. They're supposed to do the work in raising the black man, the black boy, to be a black man. The women are the second string players. You don't blame the second string players for losing the season when the first string players let out, because that was never their job.
That is hot. But that was hot. But the field, all right, cool, all right. But who allowed the first string players who got off the field on the fucking field in the first place? See, because it takes two to lay down. So now we got a lot of women making bad decisions about the men that they pick or the boys. Because I agree with you there. Because a lot of us wasn't shit. A lot of us ain't shit. But you got a lot of these women that are allowing and making bad choices on the men that they allow into the inner sanctum, for a lack of better words. So, not trying to put the blame on it, because for me it's equal parts, because we look at one and we say, you're sick, you need to step up, you need to do this. But a lot of times I think when we look at the other side, when we talk about the black female, we don't really look at the effect that they have had from, in a sense, raising these boys in the absence of a good man, but also in the bad choices of man that they had kids by.
I mean, I agree. As a woman, you need to be very careful who you choose to lay with. You know what I'm saying? Not even before you think about having kids, because anytime you lay down, there's always that possibility of producing another life out of that. But at the same time, we all have the understanding of the situation, of the state of the society that we live in, and the situation that we are in as a people. So it's not like, so no matter who you choose to be your mate, you're always taking that chance. You know what I'm saying? Because I've met people who, when you see them in public, they're activists, they're productive in the community, they say all the right things, they look the right way, they do all the right things, but within the walls of their home, they're not the people that they are in public.
But we all guilty of that. We all wear masks. We put on wigs. We put on makeup. We put on high heels. You know what I'm saying? Some of us get shaved. Some of us cut our hair. And then when we go to a job interview, we're a totally different person. I mean, it's part of the human condition to be able to put on many hats. But you know, I'm kind of concerned when because I'm not looking to place blame, because we both sexes need work, because we need to get back to some of the traditional stuff with a modern lean on it. But you know, I just like to talk about that because I've been really exploring this idea of black manhood and black womanhood, because I think both of them are out of balance. Because one, going back to the discussion we had before, the importance of a man in a daughter's life, or better yet, in the children's lives, because it shows a balance. But if the balance is if the balance has to be struck because of a bad choice, you know what I'm saying, we need to really look at who is choosing who. You know what I'm saying? Because unless the child come from rape, a lot of times we got to look at the woman's role in that. But off of that, because I know I'm going to get some motherfucking haters on that shit, and that's cool. I love it. Hit me up. You can hit me at Gye-Nyame.com, and we can go further with that. But, you know, Jay, you are an avid listener of hip-hop, because for me, all this shit ties up together, whether we're looking at men and women, economics, politics. There's a definite imbalance going on in the world. And what do you, because you're a lot younger than me, what do you see as the state of hip-hop? Because one time, a while ago, you checked me on hip-hop, and I've been looking at that for a while, and I must agree with you, because I can't throw some of these artists out I don't like, because they are part of hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? They are the children of hip-hop, and you can't disown your children as much as you may want to sometimes. But what do you think about the state of hip-hop since the last time we talked?
I mean, as far as the state of hip-hop, I still have the same position on it. I feel like the state of hip-hop reflects the state of black people. So, I mean, actually, it's funny, since we had that last discussion about it, I've actually had the discussion with somebody else. And the person tried to distinguish rap, tried to label hip-hop what it is today as rap and not hip-hop. But you can't, like I said before, you can't disown something because you don't like it. You can't say something's not what it is because you don't like it. Everything changes from its original form as it progresses, as people move in. And that's how, as a people, that's who we are. We change all the time. We morph, we get better. Sometimes we get worse, because progression's not always a constant up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes things go down. But at the same time, we change. So I feel like as we as a people have changed, our music and expression has changed as well. And what has become dominant in our music and expression has changed because what's become dominant in our culture has changed. And we just have, and as a people, I feel like the sooner that we accept that that's what it is, the sooner that we'll get out of whatever we think we're in right now.
All right, that was Miss Potolo. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick musical break, and we will return. Peace. Yo, this is Brother Hot Tim, and I'm back. It was just you listening to FBK Casca. That's from Orange 82. One of the people that make sure that the show keep on going. They keep music coming to me. I like to play unknown artists. I believe that in order for any community to really prosper, we got to make sure that the artists are getting exposure, because I believe change only comes through the artists and them sharing their art with the world. So during the commercial break, I was speaking to Miss Potolo, and she wanted to get on the subject of, as she called it, bitch ass niggas. And I want to get a clear definition of what a bitch ass nigga is. Make sure that I'm not involved in that. A couple of weeks ago, I coined a new phrase called bitchnificence, and I think this is along the same lines. But, I'm going to change it from, as she said, bitch ass niggas, and move it to the concept of shut your bitch ass up. All right? Because, we know you don't have to be a female just to be called a bitch. All of us show some bitchnificent sometimes in our lives. Some of us show it more than others. So I'm going to let Miss Potolo go on and open up this segment of the show by talking about the thing that came in on her heart. Because obviously this was weighing heavy on her heart. Bitch ass niggas. So, Miss Potolo, let them have it.
Okay, so the term bitch ass nigga doesn't only apply to men. It applies to all people of every race and gender and creed and ethnicity, whatever you want to call it. Okay, it has been bothering me lately because it seems like in society now we're making more and more excuses for people to be bitches than holding them accountable for their actions. Like, you have the right to feel however you want to feel. That does not give you the right to act or treat people however you want to treat them based on your feelings. That is being a bitch.
I guess she broke bitchnificence down into a very simple. She said, you can't treat people any way that you feel. Sometimes you got to have that mask that we kind of talked about earlier, and not. So it's sort of like wearing your feelings on your sleeves. What is it? I mean, it's like what? I mean, what? You're more sensitive. You're more open to the world. What is this?
But it's not about being sensitive, because you can have feelings. You know what I'm saying? You can express your feelings. But how you treat other people and your actions and basing your action and how you base your actions in response to your feelings, that's what separates a bitch from a real person to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a bitch, a female dog. When she's in heat, she lets anybody fuck. First person to get there can get it. You know what I'm saying? She goes solely off her feelings. Period. Doesn't consider her surroundings, the effect, who it is, whatever. And that's how people are. They feel a certain way, and they feel like they're going to treat anybody however, say whatever, do whatever, because they feel a certain way, and then after the fact, want to go back and discuss it or think about it or think about, you know what I'm saying, the repercussions or whatever. Why are you being a bitch? You know what I'm saying? Do that from jump.
Well, my feelings is hurt. I mean, my feelings is hurt, and I got to express this, and it just so happened that I feel safe enough around you to express my feelings. I mean, is it that so wrong?
But it's not about feeling safe, because me personally, I'm a very emotional person. I'm very sensitive, right? I mean, but I can't say right, because you never notice, because I don't feed into them to the point where I let it affect how I interact with other people. You know what I'm saying? If I'm offended, if somebody says something that I don't like, or it hurts my feelings, or I take it wrong a certain way, like, I'm not about to just wild out. Like, that's, like, what is that? I'm not for. You know what I'm saying? There's better ways. You have to at one point be able to have your reason be stronger than your emotional feeling.
So there's never a time where you should allow your feelings to override the bitchnificence. I mean, sometimes, isn't it healthy to let the bitch out sometime? Masculine, feminine, or whatever. Isn't it good sometimes? I mean, because we do live in a society where a lot of people got a lot of repressed feelings, and they do some fucked up shit with these repressed feelings.
I'm not saying don't let them out. I'm saying edit how you let them out. Let them out, but edit how you let them out.
But if I'm editing it, I'm not letting them out.
But you are letting it out. But the reason I say that is because when you feel something, that's real. It's real for you. However, your reality is not the reality of other people around you. You don't have a right to affect somebody else's reality because of how you feel in yours. That's not fair. You can't be like, because I'm pissed, I'm about to do this, and whoever's around, it doesn't fucking matter. But it does. It does.
That's a good point. So now, connecting the bitch assness or the bitchnificence that we're discussing, let's connect it to the issue the discussion we had before, as far as black men. Have you noticed black men showing more of this bitchnificence in your short life, or what?
I definitely have because especially we say with my generation and younger, people have this thing, I'ma just be real, YOLO, I'ma do me, so however I feel, I'ma react on it because I'm just real. That's not being real, that's being a bitch. Like, fuck it, I'm pissed, I'm about to shoot this nigga, fuck it, I'm a real ass nigga. No, you're a bitch. Like, you just killed somebody over an argument. Like, you're a hoe. Like, who, really, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Or like, fuck it, that girl did this, I'm about to hit her in her mouth. You're a bitch. What? You're a bitch.
Wow. When I think about it, I have noticed a lot of bitchnificence. So you saying there's a connection between bitchnificence, this bitch attitude coming out, and possibly the violence rate in America.
Yes, I agree completely.
You heard it here first. There is a connection between bitchiness and violence, not only in the black community, but in the worldwide community. So when somebody goes awry with their emotions and don't edit it, as you said, and don't care about nobody else's reality, because I have noticed that when you get into those emotional states, it does become all about you. And you operate as if what you're feeling should be affecting everybody else. And because it's not affecting everybody else, people tend to act out because they feel betrayed, they feel hurt. Because I constantly run into people that want to pull me into their bitchiness. You know what I'm saying? What you like such and such, or you wasn't offended by that, or you know what I'm saying? I hear shit on TV, and like, for example, white people saying nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's like people get all upset and frustrated about it and stuff like that, and it don't really faze me that much. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I ain't been called one directly, but you know, they try to get you all caught up in that shit. So this bitchness has caused a crime spree within our community, because I can focus on our community now because we already specified what a bitch is. So you're saying that a lot of men are suffering from the concept of bitchiness. Now, is there a connection between this bitchiness and black women raising boys? Better yet, unbalanced people raising kids. Is there a connection between unbalanced, whether it's a male or female, raising kids, and the level of bitchiness that we will see within that child?
To an extent, I will say yes, because imbalanced people either A, can't recognize the problem in their children, or B, see the problem and don't know how to correct it, or C, they see the problem and don't recognize it as a problem.
But now, I ran into a proverb when I was reading Things Fall Apart by Chinwe Achebe, and I love this proverb. It says that as the mother cow is chewing her cud, the baby, the calf is watching her mouth. So this is the point I'm making, or I'm trying to make. I'm trying to get around to. Maybe the parents can't recognize the bitchiness because the child is modeling their behavior. It's hard to recognize you. You know what I'm saying? Like I get parents telling me when kids say crazy shit or do crazy shit, I don't know where they got that from. And you ran into that as well in the field. I don't know where they got that from, but you know exactly where that child got it from. It's like I'll give you a personal example. My son got in trouble for saying shit in class. He made a mistake. He made a mistake on the board, and while he was erasing it, he said shit. And the teacher reported this to me, and I started laughing, and she like, well, Mr. Brown, what's so funny about that? I said, well, I can sit up here and deny where he got that shit from, but I know exactly where he learned how to say shit at. He got it from me. You see what I'm saying? He got that from me. So maybe people can't stop it. People can't deal with it because it's them that's coming back at them. Because the children... Now, let's get to this. Let me ask this. Is bitchiness or bitchnificent? I love that. Is it a taught behavior or is it something genetic?
It's definitely a learned behavior. It's definitely a learned behavior because crisis is something that's natural in life, period. Animals go through crisis, humans go through crisis. Just adverse situations are just normal. But how you deal with them is modeled off who you see or your environment. And how your environment responds to how you react to a crisis situation. If you respond to a crisis situation as a bitch in a society where bitchnificence isn't tolerated, that shit gets shut down. And you quickly learn to deal with it another way because you don't want to deal with the backlash. That's natural. However, if you grow up in a society where bitchnificence is accepted and you respond as a bitch, then the next time you do it, it's okay. And I see it all the time every day when we work with the kids. You see kids who you can tell the kids who at home pop the fuck off and who doesn't. Because all the kids are going to try it. They all try it. But the first ones who you shut it down and get real with them, you can tell the ones who get it at home and who don't. Because the ones who get it at home straighten up real quick, like, oh, if she's not playing, fuck it, I'm not going to try it. But the ones who don't get it at home, they keep trying you. Because at home, they know they keep with the bitchnificence, and eventually that wins over their parents' will because their parents can't take it for whatever reason.
Now, so the question, see, because now one of the things that I constantly deal with on my show is I challenge people, as far as the black community, I challenge people to show me this black community. I shut my mouth. I don't believe there's a black community because deeper than the society shutting it down, if it's unacceptable in the community, because it starts in the family and the community. The community is supposed to be an extension of the family, and I don't see that in the black community. There is no community. There is no tribe. That's why I tell people, get yourself a tribe. Build a tribe of individuals that you can have your children around so that you can get them to reflect the behaviors that you want. So now when this bitch attitude pop up in a place where that's not accepted, because society is too big, you know what I'm saying, for you to be, for them to be monitoring the kids. It starts with the community and the family. So I'm just saying, what do you think African people picked up this bitchnificence? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm kind of wondering, did it come across the sea with us? Is it a sense of helplessness, and you figuring that if you act out, you're gonna get noticed, or what?
I would say that the breaking down of our community, of our structure in our communities, has allowed it held us less accountable for our actions. And as we've been held less accountable for our actions, the more we've been able to slip. You see what I'm saying? A man not playing his role, okay. It went from the whole community shunning you, going through all this punishment, to maybe less punishment, to no punishment, to somebody picking up your spot, to nobody saying anything at all. So it becoming acceptable because it's expected. You know what I'm saying? We don't hold each other accountable for anything. So.
But those my kids. That's my man. You know what I'm saying? That's my cousin. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it's. I got to agree with you. There is very little accountability. And one of the things that I'm constantly wrestling with is how do you restore that accountability? You know what I'm saying? Without having to go and murder a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because really, that's what it comes down to. Because like I said, one of the reasons I don't go to things in Columbus like where large crowds of individuals get together. Like we just had the Red, White, and Boom. My biggest concern was taking my kids downtown and having them witnessing some big magnificence that grew into niggas pointing guns instead of in the air at each other and possibly wounding one of my kids. You know what I'm saying? And then I would have to exercise some bitchnificence myself. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like serving no time in jail. You know, but I will. I mean, just for those out there, you know what I'm saying? Fuck with mine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, you know, especially when they too young to really defend for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's my children or my extended family, we got a problem. So how do we curb this bitchnificent? How do we get some accountability? Or how do you believe, coming from your generation, how do we start? Because we see, I mean, because think about it. Think about the movies that you saw and how men react in those movies. How some of the roles that have been reversed in media or have been shown in media, how people react to shit. And that is as big of an influence as the influence of the parents on the children. So how do we start a tide of people being able to be held accountable?
To me, I can't say how it'll happen, but my personal opinion is that it has to start in the home with the parents to the child. But the problem is that the parents are just as affected as the children are going to end up. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, where does the healthiness in the cycle begin? Because the people who are supposed to do the healing are sick themselves. You know, it has to start with the children. Because the kids who are like you said, at the Boom, who are out there shooting, cutting up, exhibiting the bitchnificence, didn't start that day. They didn't start that week. They grew up that way. There was a breakdown or there was a lack somewhere in their upbringing that brought them to the point where they felt like they could go in public and do that.
And that shit is embarrassing. Man. So I'm going to take a commercial break and I'm about to play some music called Ascension by one of my dear friends, Jasiri X. Check him out, support his album. It should be coming out if it ain't already out. So get ready for some Ascension.
So many walk the earth's surface and they don't know their purpose, not sure of their future, so they walk around nervous. And the schools don't teach them, and that's such a disservice. And they treat us like garbage cause we come from where the dirt is. And we wear t-shirts of our friends that got murdered. And we live with the killers and nobody trying to heal us. And they wonder why we walk around with guns and conceal them. And the adults are scared so they run from their children. They can try to be positive, but we ain't gonna feel them if they speaking cliches and don't come with the realness. This is life and it's hard, and so many don't make it. Where's the light, where's the God in this industry of fiction? Can you tell me how to make it out this maze of depression in this very cold world where they prey on the naked by way of deception and play with aggression when we always got punished but never gave correction? So close to the edge with my toes on the ledge, looking over like what happens to your soul when you're dead. And I close my eyes and jump like I know I regret, but I didn't fall, I started floating instead. So close to the edge with my toes on the ledge, looking over like what happens to your soul when you're dead. And I close my eyes and jump like I know I regret, but I didn't fall, I started floating instead. Living life in the clouds. The sun is looking so bright to me now. Like a kite from the ground. Come look at all this light that I found. Living life in the clouds. The sun is looking so bright to me now. Like a kite from the ground. Come look at all this light that I found. I had a conversation with God in a dream. He told me that my trials weren't as hard as they seem. If life's a movie, they were just part of a scene. But by the end credits, I would have the heart of a king. And the lies and the pain and the hurt and the tears should be celebrated like it was the first of the year. That people don't know who they are because they searching in fear. Then he pointed at my chest and said the church wasn't here. And I woke up in a sweat, but my mind was so clear. And I felt so light like I could fly through the air. No burdens, no stress, no anger, no sadness. A bulletproof vest for all the danger and the madness. Revelation came in the form of a message that I am God too if I was born of his essence. And what I thought was tragic was more than a blessing in the shadow of death. But the Lord's my shepherd, I'll rise. Living life in the clouds. The sun is looking so bright to me now. Like a kite from the ground. Come look at all this light that I found. Living life in the clouds. The sun is looking so bright to me now. Like a kite from the ground. Come look at all this light that I found.
This is Brother Hot Tim. We was just listening to Ascension by Jasiri X. Go out there, support him. Remember, artists are the vanguard of the revolution. Artists are the vanguards of change. The revolution is too strong a word for you. And we got to support those artists with the messages that we want to get out there. As I ride through the city and I'm listening to the music that come on the radio, I am forced to have to constantly move my radio dial to NPR because I don't want that shit to get over onto my kids. You don't find it strange that as you ride in your car, you could have 5 stripper songs and 2 songs about blatant fucking. Whatever happened to the days when artists used to use metaphors to kind of get you in the mood? You know what I'm saying? You know, I was almost 16 years old before I knew Mary Jane by Rick James was about weed. I thought it was just a wild woman and shit. You know what I'm saying? But somewhere along the lines, we lost something. We lost, I don't know whether it was a poetic tradition to be able to cloak our shit in messages, adult content in music. I remember I used to have to hide down the basement to listen to Richard Pryor because my grandfather used to have the albums. I used to have to go down the basement and listen to inappropriate stuff. I used to have to go all the way down and plug in an old record player that they didn't want to throw away that stayed down there with these records that they would play only when the kids weren't around. And now I turn on the fucking TV and I can see, and you know, God bless him, Kevin Hart making his money, but goddamn, when do we start, I mean, we got all these protests going on about things going on in the world when we don't never address the crimes that are being committed to our children because they are being exposed to adult ideas at such a young age when they should I honestly believe they need to be being kids. We don't protest that our children can't go out and play no more. You know what I'm saying? I can't let my child go out and play no more because they may inadvertently take off their shoes to want to run through the grass and step on something that might take their life, or they might get snatched up. You know what I'm saying? I know that's very rare, but the way the media portrays this shit, or niggas could be going through some bitch-nificent shit and just start shooting. When did niggas start shooting and not being able to hit the targets? What's going on with the world? You know, I like to thank my guests. It ain't all bad. Because right now, before I thank my guests, I just want to state this. People, we are at a crucial time in the world's history where we can either move towards a lifestyle of abundance or a lifestyle where a majority of us are sinking into poverty. And our key, I believe, is our children. We need to start preparing them for the future we want. The thing that I ran into recently, and I ran into one of my friends who is preparing for the end of the world. And I couldn't help but to think how fucked up a life could be if you did nothing but prepare for surviving a motherfucking terrible thing. What type of life can you live when you're constantly preparing for the worst? What about the possibilities of all the good things that can happen in the world? We're not researching that. We're constantly looking up conspiracies. We're constantly looking up the sad state of the world. We never look for that positive news to uplift ourselves to keep moving. I know I just got done talking about some bitchnificence and all that shit, but I just want everybody to know that there is a whole other world that you may be missing because you are wrapped up in bitchnificence yourself. Open up. Stop looking at some of those posts on Facebook where motherfuckers is complaining and start looking at some of the posts on Google Plus and Twitter and Facebook that points you to the possibilities of the world. Because it's a big, beautiful world and it's not all hinged on doom. We have great opportunities coming. So first I want to thank Miss Potolo, and if she has a word to say before she go, I'm going to give her a second and then we out of here.
Thanks for having me on the show, Hot Tim. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Miss Potolo. That's MISSPOTOLO. And when you have time, Google Potolo and find out more about the Star Deep Beginnings.
That's the first guest I had that shout out some shit. So if you follow her, you follow me. That'll be $20 because that was a free commercial. So, yeah, that was a free commercial. All right, y'all. I'm out. And we're going to go out to some Build and Destroy from Orange 82. And with that, I say peace.